Upon waking up, Zhou Yi became the executioner of the great Qian demon-slaying division. Coincidentally, in the chaotic world of demons and monsters, ghosts and monsters roam freely, and the world undergoes drastic changes. Zhou Yi hid in the demon-slaying department, executing demons and obtaining various rewards every day. Huangting Daojing, Ziying Immortal Sword, Pantao Spirit Root, 5-Color Divine Ox, Tiangang Spell, D Sha Divine Power 9 Days and 10 Places, The Endless Immortal Path, I will be the leader of the sect. Keywords of the novel. I have been in the demon-slaying department for 30 years without a pop-up window. I have been in the demon-slaying department for 30 years. Download the complete TXT collection and read the latest chapters in the demon-slaying department for 30 years. Chapter 1. Demon Illustrated Record. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Demon Illustrated Record. When Zhou Yi opened his eyes, he found himself lying on the cold hard bed. In the pitch-black night, I couldn't see my fingers when I reached out. Surrounded by thunderous snoring, there were more than one after another. There was a faint whistling sound outside, as if it were some kind of fierce beast. Where is this? Didn't I die on the hospital bed? Zhou Yi instinctively touched his chest, jumping with a thud, more energetic than ever before in his memory, probably not in the underworld. Fragmented memories suddenly appeared in the mind of Zhou Yi. The mountain villages near Hanyang. Drought, war. Begging and entering Beijing half a year ago, the prison captain went to the refugee camp to select young men, claiming that the demon slayer was in charge of food and housing, and his predecessor became a prisoner of the prison. Today during the day, Zhou Yi executed a ferocious soul, and then he became confused and disoriented. I don't know when his soul went berserk. Zhou Yi has browsed through the memories of his predecessor and can roughly guess that he has traveled through it. This is the headquarters of the demon-slaying department in the capital of Emperor Qianlong, Luoyang. The original owner of this body, also known as Zhou Yi, is exactly 20 years old. This world is by no means any dynasty in memory, nor is it a blue star in memory. Not to mention that there are no dynasties with the name Qian as their national name, let alone demons and monsters. Slaying demons, fierce souls and demons, monsters and demons. This world is too dangerous. Zhou Yi tried his best to calm himself down and feel the powerful heartbeat. However, it's so good to be alive. Sleeping in a hazy state. In the dream, countless terrifying figures seemed to flash through, constantly wailing as they climbed out of the abyss. Zhou Yi stood on the abyss. Wake up again. Zhou Yi opened his eyes and saw an ugly face covered in black hair, revealing black and yellow teeth with a smile. Brother Zhou, hurry up and get ready. If it's too late, Colonel will whip again. Jianmao. Zhou Yi gradually woke up and realized that last night was not a dream, he had traveled through it himself. Adhering to the idea of speaking less and learning more, Zhou Yi followed the black-haired man to receive dry rations and arrived at the execution room of the demon-slaying department's prison. They live in the midst of the prison, with a row of prisoners' sleeping rooms built next to the execution room. Zhou Yi has been in the demon-slaying department for half a year, and every day he works in the bedroom and execution room. The Qian doesn't have any labor laws, he just wakes up and works until he sleeps. Prison room. Due to being built more than 10 zhang underground, it is always in darkness. I can't distinguish between the blue sky and the white sun, I only know that according to the hourglass, it's probably Mao hour now. More than 50 inmates stood in 3 rows, with Zhou Yi following the Mao-faced man Shi Lu in the second row. Shortly thereafter, Captain Lu of the demon-slaying division, who was fully armored in black, arrived and counted from right to left in the first row. 1, 2, 3. 57. Lu Gang's eyes slowly scanned everyone, and his voice was deep and gloomy. Who didn't come? Report to Colonel Li Jiu from room A7. Can't get up. Upon hearing this, Zhou Yi felt a chill in his heart. If he couldn't get up, he would die. This kind of thing is very common, and if there were punishments at every turn of the day, he couldn't get up. The daily work of the criminal is to kill the demons and ghosts captured by the demon slayer on the demon slaying platform, and then send them to the demon refining cave or the demon refining cave. In the demon refining cave, demons, ghosts, and monsters are refined, while in the demon refining cave, evil spirits and outsiders are refined. Due to unknown reasons, at least Zhou Yi was unaware that the executioners responsible for slaying demons lived very short lives. After staying for half a year, Zhou Yi was already a veteran among the executioners, and only Shi Lu remained in the same group. Got it. Lu Gang's voice remained calm and he began to assign today's tasks. Ma Saner, Prison No. Binggu. Zhao Dezhuang, Prison Number 14. Sun Kai, Prison B Number 7. The Demon Slayer Division divides the Great Prison into 3 levels. A, B, and C. The Type A prison has rarely appeared, usually consisting of Type B and Type C. Based on the experience of the Book of Changes for half a year, the demons and monsters in the Yizhi prison are much stronger than those in the Bingzi prison. My predecessor was assigned to the Yizhi No. 1 prison yesterday, only responsible for killing a 1,000-year-old fierce ghost, but I was completely scared at night. Zhou Yi, Prison No. 25, Bing. Shi Lu, Prison No. 13. Zhou Yi secretly observed Lu Gang's expression and found that there was no change when he pronounced his name. I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief in my heart. The demon-slaying captain is fully responsible for task allocation. If you want to assassinate a criminal, you only need to allocate the character B prison every day. Even if it's a normal death, how long can I hold on? Zhou Yi had no fear in his heart. He had died once, but he would never give up any hope for life. The second emperor was a light and healthy person, yet how could he bear to die inexplicably? He made an effort to recall the sales contract signed between his predecessor and the demon slayer. Although most of the numbers were unknown, the Qian script was very similar to the ancient Chinese characters of the Heavenly Dynasty, and even the Mengdai guess could recognize most of the content. Selling oneself for 10 years. Zhou Yi furrowed his brows slightly, realizing that the path of contract was impassable. He had lived in the dark demon prison for 10 years, and even if he was not killed by the demon, his nerves were in trouble. While Zhou Yi was pondering how to overcome difficulties, Lu Gang had already assigned today's tasks. Go ahead, I can't finish my job, but I'll get whipped tonight. After Lu Gang's words fell, the criminals bowed and bowed before scattering in all directions. The 3 major prisons, A, B, and C, are located in different locations. Generally, the A-shaped prison is located deeper underground, the B-shaped prison is in the center, and the C-shaped prison is located closer to the ground than the prison cell. Zhou Yi followed the path in his memory and arrived at prison number 25. A prison made entirely of bluestone has a keyhole below the serial number. The prisoner's bronze medal was inserted into the keyhole and turned to the right. The blue stone wall roared and turned, and the prison door gradually opened. After Zhou Yi entered, he closed the prison gate in the same way, and now he is in the middle of the outer and inner gates. The double prison gate is designed to prevent demons from escaping through secret methods and to seize the opportunity for criminals to enter the prison cell. Opening the inner door, Zhou Yi saw the demon to be executed today. Under the dim light, a monster with a fish head, human body, and fish tail was pierced by precision steel chains through its limbs, chest, and abdomen, and fixed on the execution rack. The scales on the body of the fish demon have fallen off in large pieces, and the wound is burnt black. It should be burned by flames. Roar. After the fish demon saw the Book of Changes, its ferocious fish face was about to pounce, and then the refined steel chain automatically tightened, causing it to scream incessantly. Is this a monster? It's much uglier than imagined. Is the fish head human body a genetic mutation or a radiation deformity? Zhou Yi looked at the execution platform in prison, which contained various types of tools, including knives, guns, swords, halberds, axes, hooks, and forks. Before the fish demon dies, it is necessary to maximize the utilization of waste, such as fish orders, fish scales, fish liver, and so on. Any part of a monster is useful. Ordinary fish can see clearly, and the eyes of a fish demon are more effective. Fish scales can cast armor, and fish liver can prolong life. Zhou Yi covered his mouth and nose, skillfully dug out the fish's eyes, peeled off the scales of the fish that could still cast armor one by one, and tore open the stomach to remove the fish liver. The fish demon gradually died in painful cries, and the intense resentment before death made Zhou Yi feel that the temperature in prison had dropped by at least 10 degrees. Suddenly, Zhou Yi's mind suddenly became dizzy and disoriented. A bright yellow silk scroll appeared in front of me, with 4 eerie characters on it. I immediately understood its meaning upon seeing it. Demon Illustrated Guide. The guidebook flipped through countless pages, and there happened to be a fish demon on top. The fish head, human body, and fish tail seemed to be the recently deceased fish demon. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. The Art of Watching Qi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. The Art of Watching Qi. When Zhou Yi saw the pattern of the fish demon, his mind was filled with images. De Qian, southern Xinjiang. Upstream of Yangning River. A naive green fish accidentally swallowed the spiritual pearl nurtured by a millennium-old clam, giving birth to spiritual intelligence. 100 years later, the green fish transformed into a human form, dissatisfied with the slow cultivation, and sought the method of blood sacrifice to refine the demonic energy. The villagers on both sides of the Yangning River are threatened by fish demons and offer 10 pairs of boys and girls every year for them to practice evil magic. 13 years later, the demon-slaying captain discovered that the fish demon was causing trouble and joined forces with Yeka, a subordinate of the Yangning River water god, to arrest and bring him to justice. After being tried and sentenced by the Ministry of Justice, he was sent to the death row of the Demon-Slaying Division, number 25 prison. Zhou Yi woke up from his daze and had an extra pill in his hand. Water soft pill. Deep blue, the size of the thumb belly. Water belongs to the demon tribe and is refined from essence, blood, and divine souls. Water cultivators can increase their mana after taking it, while ordinary people can wash their essence and cut marrow after taking it, slightly improving the affinity of water's spiritual energy. Demon Guide, Slaying Demons, Rewards. Zhou Yi murmured to himself, isn't this the system? Awakened from shock and joy, Zhou Yi directly threw the water-soft pill into his mouth. The pill melts at the entrance, like a trickle, blending into the limbs and bones, constantly washing away the muscles and bones, and layers of dirt are expelled from the body. Zhou Yi sat in a corner of the prison, cutting off monsters by mortals, which was already a very exhausting task, so only one demon was allocated every day. 1 hour later. The medicinal power gradually dissipated, and Zhou Yi clenched his fist and found that his strength had increased by more than twice. It is truly a miraculous elixir. Zhou Yi smelled the strong strange smell on his body and didn't pay attention, nor did he specifically clean it. In the great prison of the Demon Slayer, there appeared a pure and white executioner who, in most cases, became possessed by a demon. Originally, Zhou Yi would try his best to escape the demon-slaying department, but now he won't leave even if he's driven away. No one can escape the true fragrance law. It is extremely dangerous for demons and demons to roam freely outside. There is no such thing as a demon slayer who is safe. They gather the top bodyguards of Qian and can continuously kill sealed demons to obtain rewards. It is simply a paradise on earth. Zhou Yi is now full of motivation and must do his job well. The materials on the body of the fish demon must be sent to the Ministry of Things while they are fresh, and then the remains of the fish demon must be filled into the refining demon cave. The Ministry of Things is located closer to the ground in the EZ prison, storing a variety of monster relics. Zhou Yi carefully sealed the part of the fish demon and sent it to the Ministry of Things before returning to prison number 25, carrying the remains of the fish demon into the depths of the earth. The body shape of the fish demon is only half that of an ordinary person, but it weighs over 500 pounds. After taking the water-softening pill, Zhou Yi's strength increased significantly, making it much easier than usual. The alchemy cave was over 100 zhang underground, and when Zhou Yi came over, there was no one. Standing at the edge of the alchemy cave and looking downwards, it was a deep abyss without a bottom. Legend has it that there is a demon refining formation engraved by immortals at the bottom of the abyss, which can dispel the evil energy of monsters and prevent them from becoming demons and continuing to harm the human race. Zhou Yi threw the remains of the fish demon into the abyss, and only heard an echo after counting several hundred or 9 times. If the speed of sound and gravitational acceleration in this world were the same as in previous lives, regardless of the difference in seconds, the bottom of the demon refining cave would be about 1,900 meters. The demon refining cave, completely cast by human labor, would have been a huge project if it weren't for the divine power, even if it were placed on a blue star. This world is too dangerous, it's better to hide in the demon-slaying division for safety. Return to room A3. The residence was empty, and Zhou Yi glanced at the drip. It took over 6 hours to dissect the fish demon, take the water-soft pill, and transport the remains. Zhou Yi intentionally controlled his speed by 2 hours faster than usual, but he didn't feel any hunger in his body, and his strength seemed to be inexhaustible. The efficacy of Shuruden is too great for ordinary people. Even if most of it is used for washing essence and marrow, there are still residual medicinal effects that subtly transform the body of Zhou Yi. It's necessary to behave no different from others, go eat first. Zhou Yi went to the cafeteria, where there were already sparse inmates enjoying themselves. The speed at which criminals complete their tasks is directly related to their goals. Among them, fish demons are the most troublesome, and those who cultivate evil and supernatural techniques are the easiest. The muscles of the demon race are tough. If it weren't for the sealing of the demon aura and special torture tools, ordinary people wouldn't even be able to cut through the monster skin. Although the demon is easy to kill, it is the last task that criminals want to take on. Who knows if the demon will use any secret techniques before he dies. Even if the mana is abolished and the essence and spirit are sealed, it is impossible to say that there is still one-strike power. Among the same group of torturers in the Book of Changes, they received the task of slaying demons, and the process was meticulous, ultimately resulting in both dying together. Zhou Yi took a dozen mantou and a large pot of vegetables, and found a corner to eat on his own. Before washing the essence and marrow, he could finish it. Now that his appetite has greatly increased, he can also eat twice as much food. The food in the execution room is abundant, and if you open it up to eat, it can be considered as exceeding the sales contract. When Zhou Yi was eating, his ears kept collecting information from around him. He was no longer an illiterate refugee, nor could he live aimlessly. In the end, he died without knowing how. During any conversation, useful information may be hidden. At this time, the inmates in the cafeteria belong to the other 8 disciplines, some are talking in pairs, and some are gathered at a table. The execution room is divided into 9 branches, each with 30 to 100 people. The Book of Changes belongs to the first branch of the Jia character. My brothers almost fell today. That demon even said that he could pass on my martial arts and be invincible in the world. Fortunately. Have you heard that Zhang Dashan from the 6 ministries received an assignment from the Jia Z prison, and that monster broke free from its seal and swallowed him in one gulp? I heard a demon say that our A, B, and C prisons are divided based on several levels. Zhou Yi silently sorted out the useful information, summarized it, and perhaps saved his life when encountering it in the future. The prisoners who ate came and went, and no one noticed Zhou Yi listening in the corner. It was not until late at night that Zhou Yi returned to room A3, and the 7 inmates in the same room had already started snoring, their voices deafening. The next day. The task of Zhou Yi is to become a mouse spirit in the 27th prison of Bing. Impersonating the land of a village in Qian County, constructing a temple and offering obscene sacrifices without authorization, and collecting the incense and vows of foolish women. At first, he deceived believers in several villages, and then reached out to the county seat of Qian. He was discovered by local day-traveling ghost messengers and reported to the city god and the demon-slaying bureau. Together with law enforcement, he captured the rat spirit and brought it to justice. According to the Qian law, it is strictly prohibited to gather incense without authorization, and those who violate it will be killed without mercy. Through the memory of the rat spirit, Zhou Yi learned that the land of the city god in the territory of Qian was actually conferred by the imperial court. Qian, he is even stronger than expected. This way, the demon-slaying division is safer. After slaying the mouse spirit, Zhou Yi obtained a spell. Huangting technique. Any living creature, building, mountain, river has its own qi field, and the technique of looking for qi can determine its strength, auspiciousness, or misfortune based on the rise and fall of the qi field. Zhou Yi obtained the technique of observing qi and attempted to examine the aura of the punishment department of the demon-slaying department. The pervasive evil energy instantly blinded him. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Huangting Daojing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Huangting Daojing. Zhou Yi slowly opened his eyes, and a purple-red mist obscured his vision, faintly revealing a figure swaying. In the technique of Huang Qi, the evil energy initially appears colorless, then red, with extremely purple-red. I don't know how long the demon-slaying division has been established, how many demons and ghosts have been slain, and the accumulated evil energy can almost condense into substance. No wonder the executioner doesn't live long. Such a strong evil energy is constantly eroding the body, and it's strange to be immortal. Before the Book of Changes, Zhou was puzzled as to why the Ministry of Justice in the Great Prison hardly saw anyone else on weekdays, and the colonel only showed up in the morning to distribute his duties. Now that most of the doubts have been dispelled, they are unwilling to stay in the midst of the towering evil energy for a long time. The doctor's voice came in his ear. Evil energy has entered the eyes, fortunately it has not damaged the pupils. Rest for a few days will improve. After Zhou Yi became blind, he rang the bronze bell of the Bing 27th prison and immediately received a colonel to investigate. It has been verified that the spirit of the rat spirit has dissipated, and Zhou Yi has not been taken away. Other torturers have been summoned to carry him back to his residence. When criminals kill demons, various accidents often occur, and blindness is not a big deal. The doctor left a few pills and hurriedly left the Ministry of Justice, obviously not wanting to stay for a long time. Pills are not inferior drugs, but rather stored in the outside world. Perhaps they are treasures of a wealthy businessman and have excellent effects on clearing the mind and improving eyesight. The material for refining pills comes from the Ministry of Things, and comes from the residue of monster organ processing. This can also be considered one of the benefits of the demon-slaying department. Zhou Yi was blind and unable to slay demons, so Captain Liu approved arrest. 7 days have passed in a blink of an eye. The backlash of the Qi technique gradually subsided, and Zhou Yi's eyes returned to normal. He could no longer resist the thought of slaying demons and eliminating demons. This world is too dangerous, and there is also great terror in the demon slayer. It is necessary to have self-protection strength as soon as possible. In the morning, Lu Xiaowei, who was always punctual, arrived late for his routine tasks. Criminals are not soldiers. Before joining the demon-slaying division, most of them were refugees and some prisoners who were used as waste. Before the colonel arrived, they chatted in small groups. Zhou Yi used the technique of looking at qi to look at the criminals in the Jia Zi family. Lu's aura is gray and black, lifeless and lifeless. If it were a fortune teller, one could say a disaster of blood and light. 6 months ago, among the same group of people who joined the execution room of the demon slaying department, Lu lived the longest, and Zhou Yi had already died once. Li Daojing, his breath is gray and white, and his life is not long. Deng Li, his breath is grayish-white and he won't live long. Li Yun, his breath is grayish-white, and his lifespan is about to end. Zhou Yi looked at more than 10 criminals in a row and found a common characteristic, which is that they are all about to die. This is really a unique feature of a criminal cell. Half an hour later, Lu Gang arrived late, holding a mission booklet in his hand. His gaze scanned everyone with pity and saw Zhou Yi pause for a moment. For several consecutive days without seeing each other, Lu Gang felt that Zhou Yi seemed to have a different temperament from other criminals. The demon slaying division has destroyed the Black Lotus demon cult branch, so there are a lot of tasks today. After killing, send them to the demon refining cave as soon as possible. Ma Sanner, prison number 9, prison number 15. Sun Kai, prison B number 17, prison B number 3. Zhou Yi listened to Lu Gang's assignment, and it was basically 2 tasks for B and C, or 4 prison terms for C. Zhou Yi, prison number 7. Lu, C number 10 prison, B number 23 prison. Upon hearing the mission of prison A, Zhou Yi's face changed slightly, and other inmates couldn't help but look at him, as if he were looking at a dying person. Jiazi prison, a prison consisting of 9 inmates, is not held once a year. Silence. Lu Gang's voice was like thunder, and all the criminals in the town were discussing. He continued to issue orders with an expressionless expression. The task force was assigned today, and Lu just turned around and left without any discrimination due to the Jiazi prison. Zhou Yi silently walked towards the depths of the execution chamber, with the Jiazi prison adjacent to the demon refining cave and the demon refining cave. He was not afraid of the Jiazi prison, but constantly pondered whether Lu Gang was deliberately targeted or if he was unlucky. The gate of the Jiazi prison is made of black iron, carved with incomprehensible inscriptions. It is said to be a spell bestowed by an immortal master, which can make the black iron stronger. Passing through the double black iron gates, the interior was surprisingly clean and bright, with an unknown light source on the roof shining on the prisoners. Compared to the gloomy atmosphere of the second and third character prisons, the first character prison looks like a tidy single-room apartment. The prisoner is a kind and amiable old man, at least at first glance. Zhou Yi saw him like this, with white hair and a childlike appearance, and a rich face. Little doll, the old man's arms and legs are all sore. Can you help me rub them? Zhou Yi instinctively used the technique of looking at Qi, and then saw a dense array of unjust souls swirling around the old man, as well as the black and purple evil spirit. It's actually a natural spiritual pupil. It's a waste of cultivation seeds. Help the old man loosen his grip and pass on a holy lotus secret technique to you. You can cultivate the ghost spiritual pupil, which can penetrate the sky from top to bottom. The old man's essence and spirit were sealed, relying solely on his demeanor, melody, and language skills, which aroused the desires in the heart of the Book of Changes. Learning the Holy Lotus secret technique and then killing him doesn't seem to make much difference. Zhou Yi's face showed a heart-stirring expression, and he slowly walked forward. The old man's face showed a childlike expression. Puzzy. The torture tool penetrated the old man's neck and directly suppressed his words behind him. The old man had an incredulous expression on his face. He had the Xinglian sect's reincarnation secret technique, which allowed him to place a strand of divine energy in the body of the Book of Changes before death. However, his essence and spirit were banned and he had to come into physical contact before he could cast spells. Hee. Blood flowed down his neck, and the old man continued to pant, seeming to want to ask why. Old sir, I'm afraid of you. You have a great mind, so it's better to see you off. Zhou Yi also brought 5 daggers and instruments of punishment, which were nailed to the positions of the 5 internal organs. 3 steel nail instruments of punishment penetrated the top of the skull in the direction of the 3 talents. This is the way to deal with demons and demons, using special torture tools to immobilize the 5 qi in the body and the 3 flowers on the head, which can be maintained for an hour after death without loss. Send it to the demon refining cave within an hour, without wasting any energy. After the old man's death, the demon guidebook flipped through hundreds of pages, revealing his image. On the picture book, it is not a wealthy and kind old man, but a big demon head with blue faces and fangs, black clouds on top of his head, feet on a magic lotus, arms wrapped around a venomous snake, one holding a white bone-long banner, and the other holding a skeleton prayer bead. The demon illustrated book not only includes the demon race, but also the evil spirits who commit crimes. Zhou Yi learned about the origin of the demon head, the elder of the Black Lotus sect and the Black Sha demon lord, who had lived for over 300 years. The real name of the Black Demon Lord is Zhenghua. He was born in the Black Lotus sect and his father was a deacon of the Black Lotus sect. He robbed a female cultivator from a small sect of the righteous family and forcibly gave birth to a descendant. I have seen the cruelty of magic since childhood, and Zhenghua Sheng is extremely cruel in nature. He is also a terrifying presence in the world of magic. He fought decisively all the way, even killing his own parents, and eventually became one of the 12 elders of the Black Lotus sect, holding high authority and possessing immense demonic power. A few months ago, Zhenghua led his subordinates to infiltrate the city of Lushan County, intending to sacrifice 200,000 people in blood and refine them into the magical treasure of the underworld, the White Bone Banner. Eventually, their success was in vain, and the entire branch of the Black Lotus sect was destroyed in one fell swoop. Li Mu, a 20-year-old young man, surprisingly cracked the blood sacrifice formation of the Black Demon Lord. Zhou Yi's memory fragments from the Black Demon Lord are filled with a large number of curses against Li Mu, which can be said to be the key to the failure of the Black Demon Lord. Let him have the wind from the southeast, northwest, and north, and I will remain steadfast. The demon illustrated mirror merged and dissipated, leaving behind a Taoist scripture. Huangting Daojing. Similar to martial arts but not martial arts, there is no need to deliberately meditate and practice. Reciting Huangting silently at all times can guide the spiritual energy in the body and increase the path. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Fahai Immortal Master. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Fahai Immortal Master. The Book of Changes does not understand martial arts and does not know the level of the Huangting Daojing. The characteristic of self-refining spiritual energy without the need for deliberate meditation satisfies the Book of Changes to the extreme. One reason is that the Book of Changes is not connected to the meridians and dantian, and there is no one to teach it. Even holding the immortal scriptures cannot achieve it. The second is a large bunk with 8 people each. Zhou Yi suddenly meditated and practiced martial arts, and it is estimated that he will be imprisoned the next day. The Book of Changes silently recites the Huangting Daojing, and a natural flow of clear qi in the body expands the meridians, strengthens muscles and bones, and finally transforms into a ray of magical power in the elixir field. The hidden medicinal power of Shuru Dan in the body is stimulated under the guidance of the Huangting Daojing. While practicing, without delaying Zhou Yi's handling of the remains of the old demon, he carried them to the demon refining cave and threw them inside. The demon refining cave and the demon refining cave are exactly the same except for their different names. Zhou Yi learned from his last lesson and dared not use the qi-looking technique to observe. The processing speed was fast today, and when I arrived at the cafeteria, I found it empty. The Book of Changes is not anxious or impatient, eating without any impatience, and using distractions to silently recite the Huangting Taoist scriptures. It can be said that practicing while walking, practicing while sitting, and practicing while eating after a moment, the criminals appeared in groups of 3 or 2. Listen to them. Today, the 9 inmates in the execution room have all received tasks to slay the demons and demons. The demon head is much more dangerous than the demon clan. Not to mention various methods of temptation, there are often secret methods that erupt before death, and those who suffer from punishment will perish together. The Black Demon Lord seems to have no resistance, and it's much easier to kill than the rough and fleshy demon race. Zhou Yi murmured to himself, "Am I the one who cuts fast enough?" Returning to the residence, I found 8 people's rooms, but only 4 came back. Now with the addition of the Book of Changes, the survival rate is 5/5. The drip has already shown late at night, and the other 3 people are most likely unable to come back. One of them is Shirlu, who sleeps next to Zhou Yi and snores the loudest. The other people who were sleeping together nodded slightly when they saw the Book of Changes. Everyone is not physically tired today, but there is no interest in chatting. The execution of the prison cell involves beheading demons and monsters, while those who suffer more are the torturers. Zhou Yi lay in bed, silently reciting the Huangting Taoist scriptures, and after stepping onto the path of practice, he was full of energy and did not need any sleep at all. This is also good. If a peerless demon emerges from the prison, he can still run away in time. I don't know what reward there will be for killing demons tomorrow. Zhou Yi is full of expectations for the future. He is fortunate to have joined the demon slaying department, otherwise he would probably die without a burial ground if he personally went to slay demons and eliminate them. Early the next morning. There are only 40.2 people left in the class A Criminal Investigation Department. Colonel Liu Gang only said that there will be new recruits soon, and then he will continue to assign staff. There is indeed no shortage of new members in the execution room. Just by managing food and housing, it can attract a large number of young men to join, let alone be considered petty officials. Outside, one may starve to death in a month, and in the execution cell, one can still eat and drink enough to live for a year and a half. The Book of Changes cannot judge the right or wrong of the Demon Slaying Bureau, as most of today's servants are in the E-character prison. Yesterday, the demon head of the Black Lotus sect branch was like a temporary fortress. After slaying the demons, they accumulated an extra day and I don't know where to catch so many demons and monsters. EZ-105 Prison. A pure wolf demon, with snow-white fur all over, standing over 1.2 zhang tall. A dozen or so fine iron chains pierce through the limbs, chest, and abdomen of the wolf demon. When Zhou Yi entered, he immediately became fierce, and his sharp teeth, measuring 1 foot long, could easily tear apart the gold and iron. Zhou Yi first pulled out the wolf demon's mouth full of teeth, and in case he accidentally touched it, he could break his arms and legs. After the death of the wolf demon, he climbed onto the demon guidebook. Rewarded a spell that can attract Tai Yin Yuhua to refine the body. Unfortunately, the execution room was built underground, and Zhou Yi had not seen any sunlight for over half a year. Roughly judged by value, the reward for prison is the best, while prison is the worst. But currently, what I need the most is elixirs. The Tai Yin refining technique is not as valuable as the water softening pill. Forget it, anyway, the demon slaying department has countless demons to kill, not short of 1 or 2 days. Zhou Yi's life in the execution room was very regular, including sleeping, knotting the mortise, slaying demons, eating, sleeping, knotting the mortise. What's the difference between this and 007 from a previous life? Zhou Yi realized that even his rebirth through the system could not avoid blessings. The Huangting Daojing is constantly in operation, and its magical power is increasing at every moment. As for how strong it is, the Book of Changes is not very clear. After experiencing the Black Demon Lord, most of the demons slain were from the C-shaped prison. The reward pills were directly refined into magic, and the magic could only be practiced secretly. The Black Demon Lord, who had ruled the world for more than 300 years, could be captured by the demon slaying department to fill the demon refining cave. Zhou Yi dared not show any cultivation of Lucy. As the number of demons killed increased, Zhou Yi's techniques became more exquisite. The demonic organs he dismantled were even praised by the people in the Ministry of Things. One more point would make it redundant, and one less point would make it bad. After Zhou Yi showed his superb swordsmanship, the colonel handed over more demon race attendants to him, and the dangerous demons were handed over to other criminals. The quality of dismantling the materials of the demon tribe directly affects the reward of the captain. Half a year has passed in the blink of an eye. The 7 people who slept with Zhou Yi have already changed into 2 groups. Communicate with the new inmates, most of whom come from several northwestern states. Due to the collusion of Shirome with the demonic cult rebellion, millions of people have been displaced. I mourn the many hardships of people's livelihoods. Zhou Yi could only sigh. The previous group of people who slept together were even more miserable. They were the family's surnamed Qian. It is said that he was once a wealthy businessman who was implicated in a wrongful case and was related to the important figures in the 6 departments of Luodu. Crime never meant death, but he was thrown into the execution room. After 3 months of intermittent attacks, he couldn't withstand the erosion of evil energy and couldn't wake up in his sleep. The colonel in charge of Jianmao is no longer Lu Gang, but the new Shi Yongyan, with a delicate face and a straight posture, like a scholar. Along with Captain Shi, there was actually a young monk. The monk has a handsome appearance and a gentle temperament. He is dressed in a moon-white monk robe and stands out in the dim prison cell. Shi Xiaowei introduced, this is Master Fahai from Jingguang Temple, also known as the demon-slaying Immortal Master. Immortal Master. Zhou Yi listened many times and saw a real person for the first time. Other criminals couldn't help but discuss, and their gaze towards Fahai was full of hope. Amitabha Buddha. Fahai's gaze swept over the punished person with the letter A, his eyes filled with compassion, and his whole body shone with golden Buddha light. The Buddha's light fell on the executioner, and his flesh, which had been eroded by evil energy, suddenly appeared much lighter. Thank you, Immortal Master. The great kindness of the Immortal Master will be unforgettable forever. Immortal Teacher's longevity is in harmony with the heavens, and immortality and blessings will be enjoyed forever. The criminals expressed their gratitude one after another, while Zhou Yi followed the crowd and secretly observed the criminal's breath using the technique of observing qi. Unfortunately, it is still shrouded in stagnant energy. The Buddhist teachings of this Master Fahai are not yet sufficient to eradicate the erosion of evil energy. Alright, today I received the gift of Master Fahai, so I need to work hard. Shi Xiaowei said, Zhou Yi, go with Master Fahai to the Bing 72 prison. If you have any requirements, please try to meet them as much as possible. Obey me. Master, come with me. Zhou Yi led the way ahead until the 72nd prison. The person imprisoned in prison is a cow demon, which is a domesticated yellow ox, which is very common in the demon-slaying bureau. Domestic livestock are influenced by popularity and are prone to developing intelligence. As the old saying goes, a chicken is no more than 5, and a dog is no more than 8. This means that once it exceeds its intended lifespan, it will become a demon race. Before the Book of Changes, a large rooster demon was slain and raised in a farmhouse for 10 years before quietly transforming into a demon tribe. The farmer's family was not aware of this and planned to kill a rooster to entertain a distinguished guest. As a result, all members of the family, including distinguished guests, were pecked off their heads by the rooster demon. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. 9 Rank Immortals. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. 9 Rank Immortals. Demons have their own ways, and people have their own humanity. The Qian law prohibits the indiscriminate slaughter of demon tribes and prohibits the mixing of humans and demons. Not all demon races are evil, but the demonic aura can erode mortals. Long-term exposure to the demon race can cause physiological and psychological distortions, similar to nuclear radiation in the impression of the Book of Changes. Not only demonic energy, but also ghost energy, evil energy, and evil energy have similar harms that can only be eliminated by immortal masters. The demon that Zhou Yi once killed was initially just a scholar who fell in love with a millennium-old female ghost. After living together for a long time, I became less fond of sunshine, silent, and mentally gloomy, and eventually joined the Yin demon sect. In the great prison of the demon slayer, there is a strong demonic aura. If the criminal lives for a long time, there will also be changes. At the beginning, I signed a life contract. Zhou Yi looked up at the yellow ox demon and found that it was different from other imprisoned demon tribes, too calm. The demon race gives birth to intelligence from beasts, but still has more animal nature than human nature. They are generally irritable and cruel by nature. Faced with the fear of death and infected with the evil energy in prison, 99% of them are in a state of madness. The scalper demon is not crazy, but its gaze is calm, as if waiting for death to come. Only when I saw monk Fahai, his ox eyes widened and filled with hope. Amitabha Buddha. I apologize to the benefactor Nyo, and the Ministry of Justice has sentenced the Zhao family of 5 to death. As soon as Fahai finished speaking, the yellow ox demon let out a moo and was about to break free from the iron chain. The prohibition inscription appeared on the iron chain, becoming as hot as fire, burning burnt beef, yellow, leather, and burnt meat. The scalper demon was just a type C prison demon and was completely suppressed in an instant. Bald donkey, monks do not lie. What you promised in front of the Buddha statue is considered deceiving the Buddha. The poor monk, aware of his sins, went back to the temple to repent on the wall after surpassing Myo Jusher. Fahai sat on the side, constantly reciting scriptures, while the Buddha's light drove away the yin and evil energy in the prison. Master, I'm going to take action now. Zhou Yi has seen many tragedies, and he himself is also a tragedy. The scalper demon, who has been sentenced to death, is certainly not a kind-hearted demon tribe. The torture equipment skillfully penetrates the heart of the scalper demon, then breaks its horns, peels off its skin, and cramps. When the scalper demon was caught, there should have been no resistance, and the cowhide was very intact. The demon guide appears memory fragments. Zhou Yi saw the figure of Fahai from it. Reward a essence and blood pill. It is refined from the essence and blood of the demon tribe, and can strengthen the body and provide abundant qi and blood after taking it. Amitabha Buddha. Fahai recited the reincarnation spell 3 times in a row, got up and bowed to the bull demon, ready to turn around and leave. Zhou Yi couldn't help but ask, Master, why do you need to repent for demons? You might as well say something, maybe it will be fine. Fahai felt distressed in his heart and was missing a listener. Zhou, come and listen. Did I make a mistake? Fahai recounted the process of capturing the bull demon, and even though Zhou Yi already knew, listening to the parties involved couldn't help but sigh. Perhaps the scalper demon was taken care of by 3 generations of farmers, and coincidentally encountered a drought with no harvest. Farmers would rather starve to death than kill their cattle. The scalper demon secretly captured refugees to repay their kindness and threw them into the pot of farmers. Fahai, who was in charge of the demon slaying division, discovered remnants of demonic energy in the refugee camp. He followed the clues and found the farmer Zhao's family. The ox demon is willing to surrender to protect the lives of farmers. Fahai agreed to the cow demon and pleaded for mercy on behalf of the 5 farmers, but the Ministry of Justice sentenced all of them to death in order to deter the refugees. Master, I think you're right. The cow demon's theft and murder is a capital offense. Zhou Yi said, farmers, knowing that there are people in the pot, not only do not report to the government, but also make a living from it. In times of chaos, they use severe laws, and it is not an exaggeration to have a heavy death penalty. As Zhou Shizhu said, just like the officials of the Ministry of Justice said, if it were not for this, it would be easy to protect the farmers with the help of the poor monk sect. Fahai sighed and said, the farmers are not bad. The ox demon repaid the kindness, and in the end, they all died. After much thought, it was all my fault. The poor monk subdued demons and demons to protect the human race, but now he has actually killed a family. Fahai said this and sat cross-legged on the ground, reciting Buddhist scriptures. Master, you're wrong, it's not about slaying demons and eliminating demons. Zhou Yi remembered a sentence he had seen in his past life, which was very suitable for the current Fahai. He said, to kill is to protect life, to kill is not to kill people. The master killed the ox demon and protected more people. The farmers' cannibalism was a crime that plagued them, and there was no way to save them. Instead, they washed away their sins with death. Kill and protect life, cut off industry and people. Fahai murmured to himself, his Buddha's light flickering and flickering. After a moment, the Buddha's light shone brightly, sweeping away the gloom in the prison. Fahai stood up and bowed to the Book of Changes, saying, your words contain the wisdom of Buddhism. I am grateful for helping the poor monk overcome his inner demons. Zhou Yi said, the master has been praised too much, but I have seen so much sorrow and felt it. Master Faming taught poor monks that only by sitting in hell can one attain Bodhi. Fahai exclaimed, as a criminal and possessing wisdom, it's better to convert to my Buddha. Thank you for your kindness, Master. I am still willing to be in the execution room. Here, demons and monsters can be recognized clearly, and the outside world is difficult. It is impossible to see through whether it is a person or a ghost. Zhou Yi shook his head and refused. If there were no demon guidebooks, he might have joined Buddhism. Being a vegetarian and abstaining from desires is always better than dying. Now the demon-slaying department is the treasure trove. Without killing thousands of demons and ghosts, Zhou Yi would never step out of the demon-slaying department. A casual word carries profound meaning. When the benefactor changes his mind and wants to worship Buddhism, he will ring the wooden fish to contact the poor monk. Fahai took out a purple-red wooden fish and said, the execution chamber is a great and heavy place, but it is also not a good place. With the blessing of the poor monk's Buddhist teachings, this wooden fish can ensure the safety of the benefactor. Thank you very much, Master. Zhou Yi put the wooden fish away and asked, Master, I am very interested in immortal masters. Can you tell me more about them? Of course, it's not a secret either. Fahai waved his hand and two more cattails appeared on the ground. Please sit down, benefactor. The immortal master you are referring to is a general term for practitioners, which can be further divided into 6 categories. Taoism, Buddhism, gods, demons, and other sections. Zhou Yi nodded slightly, and it was similar to what he had figured out himself. Indeed, the two religions of Buddhism and Taoism are powerful enough in any world. The opposition between the demonic and Buddhist realms, even if at a disadvantage, is enough to demonstrate their strength. Zhou Yi asked, Master, does Shinto refer to the land, city god, mountain god, and river god? Fahai nodded and said, they are the most common Shinto gods. Shinto refers to all cultivators who are based on incense, fire, and power, and are not necessarily Shinto gods. Zhou Yi continued to ask, what are the side doors? There are numerous side sects, among which the most famous are martial arts, gu, and corpse sections. Fahai explained, the division of the side gate originated from Emperor Qianlong, who divided the cultivators of the world into 9 ranks, with the lowest and highest being 1 rank. Among them, those who cannot break through the boundary of 1 rank are called side gates. Cultivators are divided into 9 levels. What is above the first level? Zhou Yi is like a curious baby. He recites the Huangting Daojing day and night, and his magical power constantly increases in his body, but he does not know the specific realm. Originally, cultivators were not divided into different levels, and each sect had different cultivation methods and varying levels of strength within the same realm. The great Qian Taizu Gong Shenzheo Hua divided cultivators in the world into 3 stages. Refining essence, refining qi, and refining gods. Divide the early, middle, and late stages of each stage into 3 levels, and from the initial stage of refining to the peak of refining, it happens to be the 9th level system. As for the realm above the 1st level, I don't know very well. It's already a top master, Taoist land immortal, Buddha living Arhat, God King. Fahai calmly narrated without any impatience. Zhou Yi knew that Fahai was a true moral monk from his sympathy for the yellow ox demon and the farmers, which gave rise to a demon in his heart. Ordinary monks who eliminate demons never get entangled in right or wrong, and even if they kill the wrong one, they will not develop any inner demons. After listening to Fahai's narration, Zhou Yi could roughly guess his own realm. The Huangting Daojing technique was mysterious, and he skipped the process of refining his body and began the stage of refining qi. Although the realm is high, there is no formal body cultivation, and one is not proficient in spells. Fighting demons and demons will inevitably fall behind. Sure enough, we still need to be safe at the demon-slaying division. Zhou Yi arched his hand and said, "Thank you very much for your guidance, Master. You don't need to be polite, benefactor. In the future, I will change my mind and the door of my Buddha will always be open." Fahai advised, "Benefactor, please always carry the wooden fish with you to ensure safety." "I remember, Master, rest assured." When Zhou Yi took the wooden fish, he sensed that it was dispelling evil and avoiding evil spirits. Ordinary people can wear it to avoid most of the erosion of evil energy. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Criminal Theory. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Criminal Theory. After Fahai left, Zhou Yi threw the yellow ox demon into the demon refining cave. Fill in hundreds of demons every day, and it has been unknown how many years, but the demon refining cave is still deep and bottomless. Zhou Yi returned to his residence, his mind unable to calm down. The incident of the yellow bull demon caused Fahai to develop a mental demon. How could Zhou Yi avoid it? He just stood by and watched, and this incident would not affect his mood. Anyway, being idle is also being idle. It's better to record this matter. Mr. Liaozhai opened a tea house to collect materials, and tea drinkers could use stories instead of tea money, thus collecting a large number of bizarre stories. I don't even need to collect information. Every day, I come into contact with demons and monsters. I select those with warning significance, and with a little sorting and processing, I can compile them into a book. Zhou Yi pondered for a moment and felt that this matter was feasible. Writing books and expressing opinions is not only for recording, but also for regulating one's mood. Living in the dark underground, eating and sleeping every day to slay demons, can lead to psychological disorders over time. There was no paper or pen in the execution room, and the next morning, Zhou Yi shared his thoughts with Shi Shaowei. Writing books and discussing. Shi Shaowei looked at Zhou Yi in disbelief. His family was also considered a scholarly family, and even his father, who had passed the imperial examination, dared not say he wrote books. There are only a few people who can write books and speak, and none of them are world-renowned sages. It's not just about writing a book, it's about recording demon stories in vernacular Chinese. Zhou Yi explained, for example, some demonic tragedies can be avoided if prevented in advance. Yesterday, I told Master Fahai that he also strongly supports this matter. Can one still write books in vernacular Chinese? Upon hearing Fahai's support, Captain Shi nodded and said, "I'll bring you some paper and pens tomorrow." "Thank you, Colonel." "No need to thank you, just do your job well." Zhou Yi is now the head executioner of the execution chamber. Some paper and pens are nothing, and the value of any demon material can be written for a year. The name of the book was already thought of by Zhou Yi, and it was called The Theory of Punishments. At the beginning, it is written that I am a criminal whose name is not important. I will record the stories I have personally experienced. If anyone can get a warning from it and avoid disasters, even if this book is not written in vain, pure vernacular language is like ordinary people chatting and speaking. Zhou Yi did not understand the Qian's classical Chinese, and even if it was similar to his previous life, he could not learn it. The first story is not yesterday's cow demon, but Yin Gui scholar. The scholar was caught by the immortal master, thunderstruck, and his soul was shattered. The second article is Family Demon. The rooster demon pecked and killed the farmer's family, and while fleeing to the mountains, it fell into the trap of the immortal master. The third one is The Cow and the Monk. These three stories basically reproduce the real events, with slight modifications made during the process, such as the demon-slaying division not appearing in the book. The background of place names in the book is also blurred, and the court is also a non-existent dynasty. The most basic taboo, Zhou Yi still knew that as a minor official of the demon-slaying department, one must not take advantage of this to expose the darkness of the court, otherwise they will definitely be banned. Forbidden books can only circulate within a small circle, and the original intention of the Book of Changes cannot be realized. Shi Xiaowei read 3 stories and commented, "You can go to the tea house to tell a book in the future." No further comments. In the eyes of Shi Xiaowei, Zhou Yi's writings were full of 10 pages and could only depict a piece of music. Zhou Yi didn't care about this. Shi Xiaowei was born rich and powerful, and he didn't understand the hardships of the lower class. As long as he provided paper and pens, it was enough. The criminal theory couldn't catch the eye of Captain Shi, but it was extremely popular in the execution room. Many people have read the stories written by the Book of Changes, told them to others, and then passed them down from generation to generation. Almost all the criminals have heard of them. The dull underground prison is a bit more lively than before. The criminals come from all over the great Qian region and come from various backgrounds, but they all end up dying the same way. Among them, some people who are interested in the story of punishments specifically sought out the Book of Changes and told their own bizarre stories. The criminal Li Dazhuang encountered a caravan of tourists on Taizhou Mountain Road and stayed at a mountain temple on a rainy night. When Sun Sanpao, the criminal, was a child, he swam in the river in summer, and foreign objects penetrated his ears. Day and night, he heard the voices of people boiling, and the Qingsong Taoist temple. A bystander named Xingren Jia, who refused to disclose his name, encountered a flood, left his hometown, and dreamed of his parents for 7 consecutive days and nights. The Book of Changes does not reject anyone who comes, as long as there are valuable stories, whether true or false, personal experiences or hearsay, they should be edited and recorded in the book. Among the criminals, there were many officials who had been demoted. They were knowledgeable and experienced, and in the process of communicating with them, Zhou Yi also had a vague impression of Qian. Qian has a vast territory and was once one of the countries located in the central part of Yunzhou. 1,500 years ago, Emperor Taizu of the Great Qian dynasty participated in the transformation and unified Yunzhou during the Southern and Northern Wars, becoming the only imperial dynasty within the Yunzhou area. Now it is 1563 in the Deqianli and 39 in the Jingtai period. Emperor Jingtai has been in power for nearly 40 years, and it is said that he has aged in recent years and is often supervised by the crown prince. While writing a book, Zhou Yi kills monsters every day and receives various rewards. Kill the cannibal bear demon and obtain the earth spirit pill. Kill the malicious scorpion spirit and obtain the talent of invincibility from all poisons. Kill the python spirit that harms the village and obtain the magic weapon. Avoiding water drops. Slay the hedgehog essence that steals incense and obtain the tonifying god pill. The rewards in the Demon Illustrated are completely irregular, with a wide range of talents, spells, tools, and spiritual pills. The only regret is that I have never encountered the Jia Zi prison demon again, and the level of the reward items is mostly low. However, Zhou Yi was not impatient at all, and there is no better place in the world than the Demon Slayer. Secretly taking pills and refining qi, secretly practicing spells, and in an instant, half a year has passed. Zhou Yi has become an old man in the execution room, sending away 3 or 4 colleagues, and the rotating colonel has been replaced. There are no living prisoners in the execution room, and it is recorded that they lived for the longest 5 years before dying. The Book of Changes did not attract any attention. Due to Shi Shaowei's frequent reading of books written by the Book of Changes, he would discuss different opinions and not deliberately conceal some ordinary matters. The demon-slaying Shaowei takes turns every 6 months, which is a training task before truly slaying demons and eliminating demons. The new captain's surname is Zhu, and he has not mistreated his own surname. He is broad and chubby, with a friendly personality. Shi Shaowei has already instructed Zhu Shaowei to write the Book of Changes on the theory of punishments and to help him bring some paper and pens every few days. Captain Zhu, Shaogui, followed Chao Sui with a smile and agreed. On this day, when he received a servant, Zhou Yi discovered that he was actually a fish demon again. There are millions of demon tribes in the world, and similar monsters are not common. A clean and neat slaughter, the tools of punishment flipped in the hands of Zhou Yi, and the fish scales and skin were cut off without any damage. The demon guidebook slowly opened and flipped through countless pages, only to find the illuminated fish demon group. The fish demon pattern shimmered slightly, brighter than before. Memories flashed before my eyes. The fish demon overturning the cruise ship obtained 2 years of Taoist experience. Daojing. Zhou Yi secretly savored and found that the magical power in his body had doubled out of thin air. The Huangting Daojing has been practiced for half a year, with less than half of the newly added mana. 2 years of Taoist practice means practicing the Huangting Taoist scriptures out of thin air for 2 years. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. 1000-Year Journey. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7000-Year Journey. Huangting Daojing. Reciting silently at all times can increase one's path. The Book of Changes only now understands what Taoism is about. The magic power increased by half a year of cultivation is 1/3 of that of 2 years of Taoist practice. Excluding the part improved by elixirs, it is approximately an increase of 6 months of Taoist practice. In mythological biographies, there are often thousands of years old immortals and demons, who only travel for 2.5 years. It's still too dangerous to go outside. Zhou Yi measured his own path and obediently continued to slay demons and eliminate them. After the Demon Illustrated collection included over 300 types of demon tribes, the number of duplicate demons appearing in the C-shaped prison increased. The rewards given by demons in the Bing prison are mostly elixirs and spells, which are not as effective as Taoist arts in improving strength. Occasionally, the power of the rewarded magical tools is also not significant. Every time the demon is slain repeatedly, given 1 to 3 years of Taoist practice, in just a few months, the Zhou Yi Taoist practice has exceeded 100 years. In the Yi character prison, there was only one repeated demon, a snake spirit that consumed the yang energy of mortals. After being slain, it was rewarded with a 12-year Taoist journey. The total number of Taoist journeys instantly exceeded 100 years. The magical power within the Book of Changes surged like a river flowing through its meridians. Looking at the demons in the prison with the third character, he had a premonition that even without a seal, he could suppress them. The criminal story has gradually accumulated over 100 stories, all of which have been carefully selected and can serve as a warning to the world in a certain aspect. For example, if people, demons, and ghosts mix together, it will inevitably lead to disasters. For example, when encountering a small demon in the wild, how to defend or even scare it away. Some naturally weak demon clans, such as fox and mouse clans, have less power at the beginning of their transformation than ordinary people, and can only rely on illusions and confusing gods to harm people. In the criminal theory, several local techniques for cracking illusions are recorded, such as Taoist scriptures, fencing and singing, and scholar questioning, which can be used without the need for magic. After the little demon illusion technique is broken, as long as you swing your fist and hit it, you can still harvest a high-quality fox skin. The stories of the criminals have almost finished, and many new stories are similar, so they are no longer included in the book. 5 years have passed in the blink of an eye. Chapter 206 of The Criminal Theory states that there have been no new stories in the past month, and the original manuscript can be said to be completely completed. Zhou Yi should be grateful to the demon slaying department, otherwise it would probably take more than 10 years of travel to collect so many ghost legends. After several rounds of changes, the Colonel's strength in slaying demons can already be seen clearly after Zhou Yi's 100-year journey, indicating that he is in the stage of refining his body. Lower third grade refining, comparing strengths and weaknesses in the Book of Changes, positioning oneself as a middle third grade. During this period, he killed a monkey spirit who occupied the mountains as the king in the EZ prison. The demon illustrated book rewarded him with the technique of restraining his breath, which not only restrained his mana fluctuations but also reduced his sense of presence. A person whose strength is inferior to that of the Book of Changes, even if they recite the name of the Book of Changes in person, their impression in their mind is also vague. A 100-year-old path is equivalent to a third grade, a 1,000-year-old path. I don't know if it can be compared to a third grade. The magic within the Zhou Yi Dantian has transformed into a vast ocean, with calm waves in silence and mountains and rivers vibrating during operation. The third grade of refining God, unfortunately without anyone's guidance. What exactly does refining God mean? Slaying Demon Division. The execution room is in prison. The black snake-shaped phantom emerged from the ground. The void shadow holds a special spiritual talisman in its mouth, and the forbidden space formation in the prison has no effect at all. After carefully identifying the direction, the phantom swam like an earthworm and quietly arrived at the door of the 13th prison with the character E. What that person said should be here. The phantom flashed a magical light, using the method of blood induction, and indeed discovered the blood descendants trapped in the prison. The prison cell is heavily restricted, and there is no key to enter unless brute force breaks through the cell door. However, once there is a huge commotion, even top-tier demons of the demon slaying department cannot escape death. The phantom figure flashed and hid in the corner. I don't know how long passed, but footsteps came, and the culprit responsible for killing the 13th prison with the character of E arrived. It is the Book of Changes. Zhou Yi used a small trick to have the colonel kill the most powerful demon every day. Other inmates wished to stay in prison forever, and there is no objection to this. Zhou Yi took out the token, opened the prison door, and did not notice a phantom taking the opportunity to enter. The prisoner in prison is a black-scaled snake demon, with several large tumors on its forehead and abdomen. No wonder he was imprisoned in the E prison, almost shedding his snake body and transforming into a dragon. Zhou Yi was amazed and skillfully took out the torture equipment, preparing to first cut off the flesh tumor on the head of the snake demon. The sarcoma already contains the blood of the dragon, which is a rare alchemy material. A phantom appeared in the back of the Book of Changes, and a black light flashed past, ready to penetrate into the brain. Buzz. Just touched the back of the brain, a layer of 5-colored radiance enveloped Zhou Yi's entire body. The phantom seemed to collide with a copper wall and iron wall, emitting a mournful scream. What the hell is that? Zhou Yi's figure flashed away several meters, and he could see clearly the phantom of the banner in the air. More than 3 feet long, with a slender body like a snake, but with Zhou Yi's vision, it was clear that the snake's shadow had dragon horns on its head and 4 claws on its body. The soul of the dragon. The power of the Book of Changes is activated, and the 5-colored radiance is several times stronger. A layer of 5-colored armor is formed on the surface of the body to prevent dragon souls from sneaking attacks. What kind of person are you? The voice of the dragon soul was filled with fear, and he spent a lot of money to buy his son's cell from the Alliance leader. According to the plan, those who seize the property will be punished by casting a spell to take their son out, and someone will be responsible for smoothing out the aftermath. The power of the criminal in front of us is as deep as the sea, and even if our true body comes, we may not be able to overcome it, let alone the dragon's soul leaving our body. Who can tell me what's going on? Who do you say I am? Zhou Yi realized that the other party was just a soul, and his nervousness was greatly relieved. Having reached the realm of the Book of Changes, with the blessing of 1,000 years of Taoist practice, many truths can be understood without the need for anyone to teach oneself. The body is like a boat, and the soul is like an oar. Both are interdependent and indispensable. The master of the dragon soul, even though he has attained a cultivation level that connects with the heavens, is now out of his body and lacks 10% of his strength during his heyday. In theory, he is not an eternal demon, and the Book of Changes is completely true. How do I know you? The voice of the dragon soul suddenly stopped, and a spiritual light flashed in its eyes. Is this a trap aimed at the king? As soon as this idea arose, the association suddenly appeared with the human race in the Dragon Palace, as well as the Immortal in front of them, and everything made sense. That person must have a way to deceive the mind-questioning technique, or be certain that they will die in the demon-slaying division before daring to make a poisonous oath. If I could go back alive, I would definitely cook that person alive. The dragon soul let out a long roar, and opened its mouth to spit out several azure divine lights that froze towards Zhou Yi. It used its full body magic to collide with the prison door. At this moment, the dragon soul believed that it had fallen into the trap of the human race. It didn't matter what alarmed the demon slayer. It was already a lucky coincidence to escape alive. Why did this guy just run away? Zhou Yi looked bewildered and raised a purple spiritual fire in his hand, transforming into a fire dragon to devour the azure divine light. This spiritual fire is called the earthly true fire. Flames spew out from the depths of the earth, and it can only be born in a place where the spiritual energy of the fire is strong for thousands of years. Last year, Zhou Yi killed a 1,000-year-old fire ghost in the first prison of Yi character, and the demon illustrated book rewarded the earth extreme true fire. The types of spells practiced by Zhou Yi are diverse, but their level is relatively low. The dragon soul of the primordial spirit that emerges from the body must be the demon king of the upper three realms, so the first move is a killing move. Purple-red flames swept through, the cold ice evaporated instantly, and the temperature of the cell suddenly soared. When the dragon soul saw the true fire, its face changed dramatically. The spiritual fire was the most effective in restraining the soul body, confirming that it was a scam trap. With a dragon roar, the dragon soul spewed out a primordial essence, transforming into several zhang long black dragon claws. The dragon claw grabbed towards the prison door and directly pulled out the large hole. The dragon soul transformed into a stream of light and escaped from the hole. At the moment when the prison gate was damaged, the alarm of the demon slayer sounded, and 3 streams of light entered the prison cell. The dragon soul was stirring up the spirit talisman, and when it saw the escaping light coming over, it spat out a mouthful of its origin. The 5 colors of talisman and seal script are full of spiritual light, disappearing underground. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Blue Wave Dragon King. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Blue Wave Dragon King, the 5 Elements Escaping Heaven Talisman. As a Taoist, one can recognize the category of talismans and seals at a glance. This talisman is of the 2nd rank and can be activated to use the innate 5 elements escape technique. There is nothing in the 5 elements that cannot escape. The forbidden formation of the demon slayer's prison, which connects with the earth meridians, also belongs to the 5 elements. Next came a chubby monk holding a string of golden Buddha beads, each the size of an adult fist. When did Dao men collude with the demon tribe? Monks are equally knowledgeable, and there are only a few sect leaders in the world who can draw the 5 elements escaping heaven talisman. No matter where the dragon soul comes from, pouring sewage on the body of the Taoist sect will never be wrong for the Buddha. The Taoist frowned and retorted, there is no basis or evidence. Master Jingming should not speak falsely. Taoist Qian is right. How could the Taoist sect be on par with demons and demons? The most important thing now is to catch that demon clan, punish them openly, and use the power of the demon slayer. The speaker was a general in full armor, with black armor covering his entire body, leaving only 2 holes in his eyes. In the Qian law, it is strictly prohibited for any demon to enter the demon slaying department. Violators do not need to be interrogated, and killing is unforgivable. The king of Chu can rest assured that the demon race forcibly escaped with its divine soul, leaving behind its aura of divine soul. It is certain that its trace will be found. As one of the faces of the Taoist sect in the court, Qian must clarify the false accusations made by Jingming and painfully remove a white jade turtle shell. The white jade turtle shell is crystal clear, and the natural patterns on the back form the 9 palaces and 8 trigrams, which are extremely exquisite and mysterious. Only 3 cracks make the white jade appear blemish. Huangting's magical power captured a breath from the escape of the dragon's soul and threw it into the white jade turtle shell. Then he took out 3 sandalwood sticks and lit them, bowing 3 times towards the white jade turtle shell. The white jade turtle shell trembled gently, and there was another crack on the back. The burning aroma of sandalwood drifts towards the southeast without any wind. Let's go. Qian held the sandalwood fragrance and turned into a green escape light before leaving. Amitabha Buddha. Benefactor Qian is willing to use a spiritual turtle shell. It seems that it has nothing to do with the demon clan. Zen Master Jingming took a step, shrunk to an inch, and instantly appeared dozens of feet away. The Buddha's divine feet are fully connected, and the speed is no less than that of the Taoist escape method. The king of Chu did not immediately pursue him. He waited for the officials of the Demon Slaying Bureau and the colonel to enter the prison and ordered them to thoroughly investigate the number 13 prison, and then followed the aura left by Qian to pursue him. By Bo-Tan. One of the magnificent sights of Luodu. The water in the pond is connected to the underground fire veins, and the water temperature remains high, forming a natural warm room. The surrounding vegetation is still verdant in the cold winter, and there are many visitors every day. No one could have imagined that there were dragons living in seclusion in the Blue Wave Pond, and a water mansion was built, self-proclaimed as the Blue Wave Dragon King, gathering many water demons. The dragon's soul escaped into the Blue Wave Pool and returned to the body of the dragon in the water mansion. Jiaolong's eyes slowly opened, and he was able to control the majestic demon energy in his body, which immediately made him feel much more at ease. However, it will take at least a decade for the 2 mouthfuls of primordial essence to be restored. The Blue Wave Dragon King's face was gloomy and terrifying, and he ordered his troops to descend into the water demon. Someone, bring me that human race. After a moment, a middle-aged man in splendid attire was brought up, and seeing his blue nose, swollen face, and disheveled appearance, it was obvious that he had suffered a lot. Lord Dragon, I believe you have already entered the Demon Slaying Bureau and rescued the noble young master. Middle-aged people are neither humble nor arrogant, with extraordinary magnanimity, facing dragon power calmly as a mere 3rd-rank cultivator. I just returned from the Demon Slaying Division. The Blue Wave Dragon King grabbed the middle-aged man by the collar and lifted him in mid-air. If it weren't for my fast running, I might have filled the demon refining cave by now. Impossible, as long as we follow the master's method and use the remains of other snake demons, there will be no problem. Middle-aged people believe that the Blue Wave Dragon King has eaten dry and wiped clean, and they want to repay the debt. It was not without the Demon King doing this before, but they all died tragically later on. So the middle-aged man threatened, Dragon King, you must think carefully. Your Majesty has great powers, so don't say it's unforeseeable. The Blue Wave Dragon King's face showed a puzzled expression. Did he really blame this person? At least the 5 elements escaping heaven talisman he provided had no problem. Boom! A loud bang came from outside the Dragon Water Mansion. Following closely behind were continuous thunder and the mournful cries of the water demon. The Blue Wave Dragon King sensed 3 familiar auras, which were the Dunguang masters encountered by the demon slayer. Damn the human race, they even brought people to this Wangshui mansion and still want to deceive me. After speaking, without giving the middle-aged person a chance to refute, he threw it into his mouth and chewed it before swallowing it. With a roar of a dragon, the body of a 10-foot-long dragon shuttled through the water, leading its troops to kill the demon in the water. Just in time, I'm waiting for you for a long time. Qian bombarded the thunder technique of the water mansion, turning the direction and sending dozens of thunderbolts towards the blue wave dragon king. At the same time, a large Buddha bead fell from the sky, tied onto the body of the dragon and nailed it to the water. Purple divine thunder rained down like raindrops on the dragon's body, its scales splattered everywhere, and its blood dyed the blue wave pool red. A despicable human race. The blue wave dragon king only felt that the magic in his body was not running smoothly. With a dragon chant, his body skyrocketed to over 30 zhang and he opened his mouth to bite Qian. The strongest aspect of the demon race is not in their magical powers, but in their violent physical strength. Qian dared not confront the body of the dragon and dodged the dragon's bite with a flash of light. Underneath the Baiboden is the home ground of Jiaolong. The technique of water escape is like an instinctive talent, biting tightly behind Qian, almost swallowing him several times. Qian was also not easy to get along with, holding a purple magic sword. Thunder and lightning continued. One person and one dragon are chasing and fighting in the water, stirring up the entire blue wave pond. The underground currents are surging, and many huge cracks are opening up at the bottom of the water, constantly emitting fiery red magma. Master Jingming clasped his hands together and a Buddhist mantra rang out. Om. The Buddha beads on the dragon's body kept tightening, almost cutting it off. The blue wave dragon king was in unbearable pain and had to shrink his body to a length of 3 to 5 zhang. At this moment, a black shadow appeared from the bottom of the water, which was the king of Chu covered in black armor. The evil dragon trespassed on the demon-slaying bureau and will be punished. The voice of the king of Chu was as cold as ice, as if judging the blue wave dragon king. The armor on the right arm rapidly changed, transforming into a long black spear, revealing the strong muscles beneath the armor. Well. Jingming timely delivered another true message, and the Buddha's pearl suddenly weighed 1,000, dragging the blue wave dragon king down to the bottom of the water. The king of Chu grabbed the long spear, and his qi and blood rose and manifested, igniting a crimson flame on his right arm. Man and gun in one. The long spear directly penetrated the blue wave dragon king's scales and nailed it to the bottom of the pond. The body of the dragon kept shaking the demon body, and the long spear nailed to it kept trembling. The arms of the king of Chu burst with blood like veins, and he was actually fighting against the dragon with his human body. Xuanqing's 10 fingers flicked continuously, and spiritual lights fell on the dragon's body one after another, transforming into forbidden spiritual patterns. Seal the soul. The body of the blue wave dragon king stiffened, with no further sound, as if his soul had flown away. Other water demons in the water mansion took advantage of the chaos and emerged from the water to escape, but were surrounded by the arriving demon-slaying captain. After a fierce battle, all the demonic energy was eliminated, the demon souls were sealed, and they were immediately sent to the prison for interrogation and execution. The king of Chu dragged the demon body of the blue wave dragon king step by step from the bottom of the blue wave pond to the shore, leaving a deep groove on the ground with his ferocious dragon body. Master Jingming retrieved the Buddha's pearl, and the body of the dragon was no longer suppressed, restoring its length to over 30 zhang. The king of Chu pulled the dragon out of the water, like ants dragging elephants. Report to the prince, the prisoner of prison number 13 with the character E, Black Water Mysterious Snake, has dissipated his divine soul and has been identified to have dragon blood in his body. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Calling for Wind and Calling for Rain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Calling for Wind and Calling for Rain Slaying Demon Division. Zhou Yi leisurely arrived outside the 13th prison with the character E. More than 10 demon-slaying schools were on duty outside the prison, and when they saw Zhou Yi approaching, the young men in silver armor led by him shouted and asked. "Stop! Who is that?" "Report to the colonel, the younger one is Zhou Yi, the person in charge of punishment with the letter, in the execution room. This is the waste token." Zhou Yi revealed his identity card and said, "Today, I received a task from Captain Su to deal with the demons in the 13th prison with the character, Su Yun. Yes. Prison number 13 with the character, E, is temporarily closed. You can take a day off today. Captain Xie." Zhou Yi turned around with a joyful expression and left. The sound of conversations in prison came from the ears, and the Blackwater mysterious snake's soul was in a state of panic. It was likely due to the death of a fleeing demon and other conversations. Previously, it was discovered that a high-ranking official from the demon-slaying department had come over and directly killed the snake demon in prison. They were still pondering how to evade the challenge, but the three of them went straight to pursue the dragon soul. The following demon-slaying colonel, whose strength was far inferior to that of Zhou Yi, quietly escaped from the prison. There shouldn't be any major loopholes in dealing with demons as criminals now. The demon-slaying department is a treasure trove of the Book of Changes, and will never leave unless absolutely necessary. After 3 consecutive days, the dungeon of the demon-slaying division was overturned, and all the criminals passed through the demon mirror. Zhou Yi was also called to question several times, but all of them were the demon-slaying colonel. The position of a criminal in the demon-slaying department is similar to that of a laborer, who has signed a contract to sell himself. Before entering the demon-slaying department, he undergoes several tests, so no one doubts it. In the end, no abnormalities were found, except for the escaped dragon soul. The demon-slaying division had no losses, so it was settled. "Old Zhou, wake up now. It's time for midnight today." Zhou Yi heard the sound and woke up from his slumber. The execution room is still dark, but Zhou Yi is now able to see things in the dark. He is the inmate who has lived in the prison for the longest time, and everyone is his descendant, so everyone calls him Lao Zhou. Jianma reported that there are now over 80 people in the A. class. The speed of a criminal's death is far inferior to the speed of supplementation. The main task today is to deal with a group of water demons, the most important of which is prison number 35. Su Xiaowei glanced at the list of criminals and said, "Zhou Yi, you are an old criminal. This time, you are a big guy. I'll give you 3 days, make sure to ensure the accuracy of each knife, and not waste a single penny." "Got it." Zhou Yi felt a sense of inspiration, perhaps it was a surprise. Opening prison number 35, I saw a dragon nailed to the wall with a long spear, and it was indeed an old acquaintance. The soul magic of the Blue Wave Dragon King has been completely banned, and after a few days, he can barely open his eyes. At the moment when Zhou Yi entered the prison cell, the Blue Wave Dragon King's eyes turned red. If it weren't for a mouth and nose ban, it would have placed all the evil curses accumulated over 1,000 years on him. I didn't expect to meet again in just a few days' time. Zhou Yi is not a person who talks a lot of nonsense. Jiaolong is covered in treasures all over his body, and there must be a colonel watching secretly. The torture equipment of prison number 35 is also specially made, otherwise the dragon's skin cannot be cut open. 2 days later, the Blue Wave Dragon King, in extreme frustration, lost his soul and spirit, leaving behind dragon scales, skin, claws, teeth, eyes, while every time the Book of Changes was stripped off, in order to ensure freshness, it went to the Ministry of Materials to deliver it, causing a group of people to marvel. Amazing, Jiaolong is full of treasures, unlike last time when the Black Demon Lord couldn't extract 3 liang of oil and water. Amazed by the skillful techniques of the Book of Changes, it is truly a sword of the execution chamber. Look at this dragon scale that doesn't even need to be processed, you can directly refine the dragon scale treasure armor. After thousands of pages in the Demon Illustrated Mirror, Jiaolong is no less than the Black Demon Lord. Reward. Call for wind and rain. One of the 36 heavenly gang techniques, it can summon strong winds, cause heavy rain, and also disperse clouds and rain. Among them, blizzards, hail, typhoons, etc. are all among the categories of moving clouds and providing rain. Compared to the method of summoning clouds and rain, the water and wind techniques that come with additional enhancements are not worth mentioning. Heavenly gang magic, unfortunately it's not that kind of great supernatural power that reverses yin and yang, but manipulating the wind and rain celestial phenomena can also be like immortal magic. The magical powers rewarded by the demon illustrated mirror are not only spells and scriptures, but also cultivation insights. It takes some time for the Book of Changes to reach the state of great achievement. Jiaolong broke into the prison without permission and escaped. Even if he was ultimately punished openly, he gave the world 100 years of awe to demons and monsters, to the extent that he gave birth to a lazy and arrogant demon slayer as a warning. Moreover, the person who was fighting against the dragon in prison was not caught, and the demon-slaying department increased the inspection of the execution cell. The Taoist Immortal arranged an elemental magnetic array that does not belong to the 5 elements, and the Buddhist Zen master added inscriptions to suppress demons. Unfortunately, more than a year has passed and no hidden experts have been found. This has no impact on the Book of Changes. He slays demons and eliminates them every day, receiving rewards, and the proportion of Taoist activities is also increasing. The pages of the Demon Illustrated Mirror are countless, but there are only a few hundred common demon clans. It is said that some demon clans with special talents will not be sent to the demon slaying department and will be dealt with in another place. During this period, Zhou Yi killed a lizard demon tribe in the Yi character prison and obtained the magic to transform their appearance into anyone they saw, reminding him of the demon-shaped woman in a previous movie. The demon-shaped woman who comes to Qian will definitely die very miserably. There are too many spells in demons and ghosts that can change their appearance. The cultivator's judgment of truth and falsehood relies on the aura of divine souls. After learning how to transform, Zhou Yi used illusions to deceive a criminal. He killed the demons in prison and obtained rewards before releasing the practitioner's illusions. In the illusion, he personally killed the demon, and the real demon did indeed die. During this period, there will only be a brief sense of dizziness, which cannot arouse any suspicion in the countless prison cells of demons and monsters. In this way, the rewards of the Demon Illustrated have doubled. Zhou Yi's help in slaying demons is equivalent to lifting the crisis for his colleagues. The executioners who died at the hands of demons almost every day, and there were several times when demons had a desperate secret. When they wanted to kill Zhou Yi together, they were brutally crushed by thousands of years of Taoist practice. After nearly 2 years of accumulation, the Taoist practice of the Book of Changes has broken through 5,000 years, barely reaching the minimum condition for using the Tiangang Taoist technique to summon wind and rain. The technique of summoning wind and rain is in the middle and lower reaches of the 36 laws of the Heavenly Gang, and it still requires 5,000 years of Taoist practice. Great supernatural powers such as mediating nature and healing the heavens and bathing in the sun have been practiced for at least 100,000 years. The Huangting Taoist scripture has been practiced for 100,000 years, and it is difficult for the Book of Changes to imagine what level it will reach. Zhou Yi killed the snake demon in front of him and obtained a year of Taoist practice. Since reaching 1,000 years of Taoist practice, the rewards given by the Bingzi prison have been getting worse and worse. Divine consciousness swept through the prison cell and found no hidden surveillance, just in time to experiment with the Tiangang spell. Zhou Yi stepped on the Heavenly Gang, pinching the Dharma formula with his hands and reciting words. Call for wind and rain. In the 46th year of Jingtai reign. Summer. More than half of the 123 counties in the 16 prefectures of Qian have not seen a single drop of rainwater. In the year of drought, there will be demons taking advantage of the situation to cause chaos. Feiyin Mansion Naked Demon Cult, Jingchangzu White Lotus Demon Road, uses evil methods to bewitch the people and bring refugees to rebel. The most serious of them is Weizhou, where the evil expert Yeka demon lord rose up and his disciples, known as the 8 heavenly kings, swept across the 5 counties in a short period of time. The Immortal Department, Dragon Protection Department, Internal Attendant Department, and Demon Slaying Department have all dispatched immortal masters to suppress the rebels and eliminate demons. The troubles of demons are easy to eliminate, but the demons in the human heart are difficult to eliminate. The drought cannot be alleviated, the land has not been harvested, and the people only have one way to rebel. The land city god, mountain god, and water god can consume incense, fire, divine power, and rain. However, at the beginning of being conferred the title of Emperor Qianlong, various rules were established. Without an order from the imperial court, any deity who reigns without permission is considered a great rebellion, and there is suspicion of gathering incense without permission. They will be punished by destroying mountains and temples. 1 month ago, the land god of Jiangning County showed mercy to the people within the area, causing unauthorized rainfall and secretly replacing underground rivers to irrigate farmland. The immortal master of Fengxian came the next day to suppress the land of Jiangning County, scatter the divine souls on the spot, and destroy the earth temple. For a moment, the gods in various parts of the great Qian shook and dared not respond to the believers praying for rain and offering sacrifices. Shintoism does not place much emphasis on innate talent and enters quickly, but heavily relies on the belief in incense and fire. At the beginning of the drought, various believers worshipped and prayed for rain, greatly increasing the power of incense and fire. The court did not issue the Yellow Book of Rainfall, and the gods dared not respond, leading to a continuous loss of followers. The incense is constantly fading, and everyone's heart is burning with anxiety. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Kyoto Vibration. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Kyoto Vibration Luojing. Qinghuang Temple. Located in the bustling northern city, covering an area of several acres, it can be said to be vast in the precious capital. At this time, a Dharma meeting was being held. Hundreds of people gathered to pray under the leadership of the Qinghuang Temple Zhu. Kyoto has only been cloudy for a few days since March, and no rain has fallen. The city god and the earth are the most effective deities in Luojing, with a flourishing incense and a wide range of followers. They have held several consecutive prayer ceremonies for rain. Below the main hall of Qinghuang Temple, which is inaccessible to ordinary people, there is also a Qinghuang Temple, which is the same as the temple on the ground. This is the residence of the city god of Kyoto, with chilly winds and ghosts crying and gods howling. At this moment, the city god sat upright in the main seat, with 4 major judges on the left and right, and 20.4 chief officials of the court gathered together, looking anxiously at the ground for worship. The Qinghuang Temple in Kyoto is second to none in Dakian, and the city god led by it is a kind of upright god, who has ruled the Hell Division in Kyoto for hundreds of years. The 4 major judges rank second in Shinto, and there are more than 30 Shinto officials in the 3rd rank. Even the Dakian court, which conferred titles on ghosts and gods, treated them equally. The head of the induction department is a refined scholar, constantly calculating with his fingers and showing an anxious expression on his face. Sir, compared to the sacrifice 10 days ago, the number of followers of the incense fire this time has decreased by 30%. If this continues, the prestige accumulated by the city god of Kyoto for hundreds of years will surely fall short. The city god frowned slightly, with his mysterious divine power, how could he not be clear about the changes? On March 22, the first prayer for rain and sacrifice gathered over 10,000 believers, and the incense was at its peak. Afterwards, they were folded in half, 3 times again, and several prayers for rain were ineffective. Now, only 1,000 devout and honest people remain. If it doesn't rain again, there won't be even hundreds of people next time. What's even more serious is that it's difficult to gather believers, and once you lose your trust, it's even harder to recover it. What can I do? The city god sighed and said, "Without the yellow book of rainfall, unauthorized rainfall is a capital offense." Hundreds of years of cultivation were destroyed in an instant. What are the officials in the court doing? In the year of the drought, it was forbidden to rain. Humph. It must have been obstructed by treacherous officials. If I had been here, I would have beheaded a few heads first. The Crown Prince's supervision of the country is still too young. Mr. Li, be cautious. How can everything in the court be concealed from the present? Be cautious in your words. Many of the city god's clergy became officials in the Chenghuang temple after their death. Having experienced officialdom during one's lifetime, and looking at yin and yang after death, with each eyelash empty, one cannot fail to see the eerie situation in the court. What kind of discord between monarchs and officials, father and son seizing power, factional struggles, and using disasters to eliminate demons in an instant. Dozens of big plays had already been brainstormed. The court has 1,000 reasons not to reign, and 10,000 reasons to ignore the life and death of the people. Alright, tonight I'll go meet my old friend in the south of the city and see if there's any news from him. The city god waved his hand to stop the discussion, and if he continued, he might have violated the taboo of the court. The power of the Kyoto city god is strong, not weaker than that of several great immortals, and he is not willing to cause trouble for no reason. The earth god of the Tudi temple in the east of the city had a much shorter cultivation period than the city god. However, the earth god had an extraordinary identity before his death and had a close relationship with the great Qian. Having accumulated the power of incense and fire for over 200 years, his strength is no weaker than that of the city god. The chief official of the Lilu department said, before his death, Duke Tudi was King Huai, so he must have known some news. Other chief officials of the Hell have different faces. The Chenghuang temple in Kyoto and the Tudi temple are in the north and south, and they don't deal with each other on weekdays. The land god is a member of the Qian imperial family, who is impartial in his actions. Otherwise, he would not be able to be granted the title of deity. However, many ambiguous positions will inevitably support the court and be despised by some Shinto cultivators. Boom boom. A thunderous roar followed closely by a wind signal. The sound source is the Chenghuang temple over Kyoto, which is in charge of the Yin division of Kyoto. Naturally, you can hear it clearly. The intersection of wind and lightning, the condensation of water vapor, this is the method of rainfall. Who dares to rain without permission? Did the land god get the yellow book of rainfall? It's impossible. No matter how biased the court is, it wouldn't treat them so differently. Who can say clearly, is this kind of thing still rare in 100 years? The city god kept pinching his fingers, but could not determine the source of the rain, only vaguely sensing that the person casting the spell was in the capital. Without the aura of divine power, it's not casting spells in the south of the city. Wind, thunder, water, and energy are clear, bright, and agile, and it's the authentic rain spell of the Taoist sect. Upon hearing these words, the officials of the underworld couldn't help but look at each other. Is there still such a bold Taoist now? The great Qian dynasty was in great fear of the heavenly might, and within its borders, Buddhism, Taoism, and divine powers were under its jurisdiction. Among them, those belonging to the Daoist sect were the most difficult to survive. Taoist monks advocate for the freedom of inaction, and many of their ideas are incompatible with the laws of the imperial court, which has always been suppressed by the court. On weekdays, I usually suppress everything, but now I catch the cultivator from the sect and reign without authorization. I don't know how much turbulence it will cause. The city god let out a sigh, as if seeing the rain cultivator enter the demon-slaying division. Unfortunately. On the 7th day of June. Chenghuang Temple Rain Praying Sacrifice. Luojing is a 100-mile radius, with heavy rain pouring down like a ladle, rivers filling up, and most of the drought subsiding. Following closely behind, the 4 major immortal divisions dispatched dozens of immortal masters, and under the command of the city god and the earth, the ghost devil and Yin god searched Luojing for several days. In the end, the Taoist who had reigned without permission was not found, and a group of hidden demons were caught to ease the anger of Emperor Jingtai. Slaying Demon Division. Prison Room. The summoning of wind and rain ended, and most of the magic power in Zhou Yi's body was drained. Unfortunately, underground, I don't know how the effect will be. With a 50-100-year journey, at least one thunderstorm can occur, right? Zhou Yi picked up the remains of the snake demon and slowly walked towards the demon refining cave. With the growth of Taoism, more and more can be seen when Zhou Yi uses the technique of looking for qi. The evil energy in the demon refining cave has become more intense than just passing through, and in the next few decades, it may condense into essence. The evil energy transforms into a form, either a natural treasure or a peerless demon. Who would have thought that the people living in Kyoto would constantly step on bombs? Zhou Yi was not interested in this. The Demon Slaying Bureau existed for hundreds of years and was built by Emperor Guangming of the Great Qian dynasty. During this period, there were never any problems, and there must be a way to solve the evil energy. Set a small goal and embark on a journey of 10,000 years. A few days later, Zhou Yi took on the task as usual, and today there are 2 demons per person. According to the colonel, the court was dissatisfied with the security in Kyoto. After conducting a thorough investigation, many lurking demons were discovered and all of them were infiltrated into the Demon Slaying Bureau. His Majesty was enraged and ordered that there be no need for interrogation, and that extreme punishment be imposed immediately. Prison number 7. Zhou Yi came in and found a young and beautiful woman in a red shirt. Lingmu art. His eyes flashed with spiritual light and he saw through the woman's illusion, which was a red fox over 4 feet long. Zhou Yi ignored the beauty of women and killed at least 20 or 30 fox spirits, with many beautiful and handsome men. The torture tool passed over the neck of the fox demon, and the flesh and spirit were cut in 2 at the same time, the only valuable double pupils on the fox demon's body. Fox demons are skilled in illusion, and their double pupils can be refined into famous pills or special magical tools. Has the demon guidebook not responded? Zhou Yi frowned slightly and killed thousands of demons, the first time he encountered this situation. The magic power runs in waves to capture the demonic soul that is about to dissipate. Due to being killed by special torture tools, even if maintained by magic, the soul will soon dissipate. The demon soul is dull and illusory, obviously unable to find any results. Soul-searching technique. Memories were presented before the eyes of Zhou Yi one by one. End of this chapter.